Going somewhere. Privilege is always threatened by equality. Privilege says, I don't mind that you get paid, but I don't want equal pay across the gender lines as I do. Privilege says, I don't mind y'all getting in, just I don't want many of y'all, all of y'all in where I am. Privilege says, I don't mind you guys climbing the corporate ladder, but just as long as you don't climb and rise the corporate ladder above me. They are privileged, but when it comes to equality. So watch what the 6 p.m. crowd wants to do. Watch what you do. I want y'all to pay attention to this. This is very, very important. Look what the 6 a.m. crowd wants to do in the text. They want to change the agreement. It sounds familiar? When privilege is threatened by equality, if it wants to change the law, when privilege is threatened by equality, they change the voter ID laws. When privilege is threatened by equality, they have to change the composition of the Supreme Court. When privilege is threatened by equality, they want to change all the legal consequences. Privilege does not like being equal. Here's the demonic part that the 5 p.m. crowd, as far as their pay, for the 5 p.m. crowd pay, do not affect the seat. Check this out. The 5 p.m. crowd, what they got paid, it didn't affect whatsoever the 6 a.m. crowd. What the 5 p.m. people got, it didn't affect their pay. It wasn't contingent on what they agreed on. It didn't mess their agreement up whatsoever. So just think about this here. The 5 p.m. crowd's blessing did not threaten the 6 a.m. crowd's blessing at all. You have to be a demonic person to think this way. This is why. They believe in the economy of scarcity. They believe it's only so much to go around. If you get a bigger slice than me, then you are going to affect my slice that I get. They're thinking that I'm going to get less. They are offended by getting more at other people's expenses. Now, we do not serve a scarce God. We do not serve a God that is limited. We do not serve a God that is restricted. God is not on a budget. God can do whatever he wants to do. God's blessing you doesn't threaten my blessing with me. God is not limited. Let me prove it to you in the text. I always wondered why that the landowner went back at noon. He went back at 9. He went back at noon. He went back at 3 p.m. And he went back at 5 p.m. To me, Brother Ken, it would have just made sense. He the landowner, right? It would have made sense for him to hire at 6 a.m. He could have hired everybody he needed. Matter of fact, I want all y'all. Come on. Why did he go back to hire the 9, noon, 3, and 5? Why? And here's here's the answer. Because it's his land. It's big enough for anybody to work and to provide. So we need to stop comparing yourself. If truth be told, you don't really know what you're comparing yourself to. If truth be told, you don't know what you're comparing yourself to. You don't even know what is behind that makeup. You don't know what's behind what these people are driving for, that Jaguar or Land Rover that goes tonight. You don't know what's behind that ring that this particular person may be wearing. And then I heard the great Dr. Jeremiah Wright put it like this here. You always heard the phrase, grass is greener on the other side. He said you better be careful. It may be some poo-poo on the underneath it, making it green. So you got to be careful about comparing yourself to other people. So stop, because guess what? What if I compare myself to Bill Gates? Bill Gates got plenty of money. He's wealthy. That would make me, pretty broke if I compare myself to Bill Gates. But what if I compared myself to that brother that I saw underneath the bridge the other day? I begin to realize that I'm blessed when I make the comparison. So you got to be very careful about comparing yourself and watch out for the comparing yourself to other people. So watch what the owner does when he sees them, their entitlement. He reminds them of his sovereignty. And when he sees that they are comparing themselves, he reminds them that he is faithful. Look what he says. Did I say to the 6 a.m. crowd, if you work the whole 12 hours, I will pay you a denarius. I did what I said I was going to do. The problem that you are having is you're looking at what I did for someone else. God is faithful. He did what he told him that he was going to do. You are so concerned with what I have done for somebody else that when God is saying, I have been faithful to you, and I have even said, and you haven't even said one time to take the time out just to say thank you. Just like Sister Titiana, Lord, said thank you just a second ago. You didn't have that was the first time that someone else said thank you in regards to us doing the offering. So this is why most Christians are frustrated. Some people hold God to a promise that he never made. God never promised us that we wouldn't have any trouble. But what he did promise, that all things will work together for the good of them. God never promised that you would not have any enemies or haters in your life. But he did promise no weapons formed against you will prosper. God did not promise you that you would get everything that you ever prayed for. But he did promise that he will meet all your needs according to his riches and glory in Jesus Christ. God never promised that things would come quick and easy. But he did promise that that if you wait upon the Lord, you shall renew your strength. And God never promised you that you will not have a bad day. But he did promise morning by morning new mercies you would see. We ought to take this time right now and to give God thanks because what he has done and what he said he's going to do. So at this particular time, we need to thank God. Say thank you. Like, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. This crowd is entitled, so they see his sovereignty. They started comparing, so they see his faithfulness. Now, here's the third and final point that the 6 o'clock crowd had. The third problem that caused them to complain was that they were flat out ungrateful. The 6 a.m. crowd lost sight of what the 5 p.m. crowd knew. This is what the 5 p.m. crowd knew. Remember when the owner went to find the 5 p.m. crowd, he asked a simple question. Why are you guys still sitting here? Their answer was, no one chose us. When the master chose them, and when the master paid them, this 5 p.m. crowd was awfully happy. Now, if you got chosen, Brother Ken, I don't know about you, but if you know how you would have, the last one got picked, and we, on the basketball court, and we still won the game, but and then say it was a prize that was involved in it, that we all got a cut, a trophy or something. You got a trophy for that, and the guy that was the captain of the team who did all the work, he did everything, and he got the same trophy that I got. But that guy that at the 5 p.m., they were very thankful and very happy for that 1 hour. They were like, man, thank you. You gave me the full wages for that. You were very happy. So this dude, so they remember what it was like in a city when no one knew their value. They know what it was like when they were out there and everybody rejected them. So when they saw that the master had chosen them because of their grace, they got happy. Every now and then, your 6 a.m. self needs to have a 5 p.m. moment when you recognize if God had not chosen me, if the Lord had not blessed me, if the Lord had not provided for me, if he hadn't did anything at all, where would I be? If it had not been for the Lord on my side, tell me, where would I be? So the masters sees their ungratefulness, so he reminds them of his generosity. So ask yourself, ask, are you complaining because I am generous, or are you tripping because I'm not fair? I am certain I do not want God to be fair with me. I am more convinced now, just being with him a while, I am convinced, when I used to be about 90% convinced, but now after studying this text, I am 100% convinced, without a shadow of a doubt, Brother Ken, no more going forward from this day on, what's this, November the 16th? 17th, sister, what time is it? 11, what is it, 10:47? That God, I am now convinced in my walk that I do not want God to be fair with me. I do not want God to be fair with me. Whatsoever. So I'm going to tell you the story, and I'm going to close why I don't want God to be fair with me. I see he hiding. I know Brother Davis sitting on there. He hiding his little Greek letters. But I'm going to tell the story. But during my time, everybody asks a question. I pledged the great Wham. There we go. There you go. Well, while I was pledging, people always ask me, why did you pledge so late? I pledged I was a senior before I pledged, because I had, football, and I was studying engineering. I'm like, man, you think I'm going to play football and study? That's too much. But anyway, I had finished playing football, but I was still involved with the football program. So my degree was a 5-year degree. Trying to get it in 4 years, you're only allowed to play 4 years. But here's the story. So during that time that I actually pledged, I think was in the fall. So I was supposed to graduate in the fall of '93. That's when I was supposed to graduate. So I think I had 16 hours that I was, 9, I had 6 hours, that dropped down to 9. I had 15 hours. 15 hours. So when you drop the course, in order to still be a full-time student, you got to have 9 hours to still remain to be still a full-time student. So I couldn't drop below 9 hours, and they pledged it, brother, and it was long nights, and I was still taking a couple of engineering courses, and I couldn't get all that in. So I had 2 of them courses that I had as far as engineering-wise. I'm like, man, I can't afford to take no F for anything like that. So I had to drop 2 of my courses in order to maintain. So I had to drop 2. Now I'm supposed to schedule to graduate come fall. If I just complete all 15 hours, I'm supposed to graduate. I'm done with school. It took me 4.5 years, done with it. But I had pledged that semester. So it was my choice to pledge that particular semester. It was like, it's your choice to pledge. So this is what the university did when I dropped the course. They basically came back, so they came out and said, guys, I dropped the course. They knew I needed 6 hours to graduate to get my degree on the football. Now, keep in mind, I was on a full ride scholarship. The athletic department paid everything. I had everything paid for. So this is what, so I'm thinking that going into the spring semester, that they're gonna still pay everything, because I had to drop 6 hours. So I still need, I'm like, ain't no way they're gonna let me get all the way up here to the finish line and then just drop me where I gotta pay. This is SMU, guys. It's very expensive to go to SMU. So this is what they did. And I thought it was unfair. So this is what it is. So they basically, so I'm thinking that they're going to pay my full, which they're going to pay the tuition and everything. They're going to still pay room and board, so therefore I have a place to stay. So I wanted everything paid for the whole 6 hours. But they didn't do that. So the university, so I was mad that the university didn't pay and cover everything like they said they were going to do. So they basically did like this. So they said, and I'm like, that ain't fair. That you guys, and like I said, I started comparing myself to all the guys that were, I said all before that, I was good. I've always done what I was supposed to do. I never complained. I was always on time. I gave the university everything I had. During summer school, because I had taken a couple courses, but that's because I had 132 hours in order to get credit. So that's not the normal workload. I was majoring in engineering. That's not fair. That you guys are going to penalize me for a 5-year program and try to give me 4.5 years. That's not fair that you guys are not going to cover. So this is what the university did. Because they didn't pay it. They're like, so what? So, but this is what the university did. They did pay for the tuition for me to go to class. They said, we're going to pay the tuition. And then what we're going to do is, in addition to that, we're going to find you a job. My wife hates the job in regards to sweet affections in regards to so they found me a job so I could pay for, so I can at least have something so I can pay my room and board and everything. So they did give me a job. And then this is what the university also did, as far as one of the professors did. So as one of the professors I needed 6 hours, right? So one of my courses was an easy blow-off course that I could take for them. I had no problem. But they were, at that particular time, phasing the civil engineering program out at SMU. So when I say I was the last joker in there, because it was only 5 of us, and the other folk, they'd already finished their stuff up. So I'm the only person that got to show up to the professor class. It was me and the professor. That was it. Me and the professor. And the professor said, this ain't happening. He used to call me Hill. He didn't call me by my first name. Hill, this ain't happening. So what I'm going to do for you, Hill, is I'm going to find you an internship where you just go report. They're all like 3 times a week as a grade for a couple of hours a week, like on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then I will count that as your grade, and cool, you'll pass. So all the time that I was thinking that it wasn't fair. Now, guess what happened out of that when I'm thinking that it's not fair? From that particular job, from my intern, I remember I walked in on the very last day and said, guys, I ain't really had nothing to do. It was like in May, I had one course I had to study for exam, which was a blow-off. I told them, and I remember this very day so vividly. I walked in, told the owner, because the lady that was part owner that was married to the guy who owned the company, she was an SMU grad that graduated in the civil engineering program as well. So I basically walked in and told them, this is my last day. I appreciate you guys for allowing me to intern here. But today is going to be my last day because I got to go study for the final. Right there on that spot, the owner, he was texting in, Greg, and he basically offered me a job right on the spot and said, once you finish up your intern, there, go take your last course. Next week, show up and you'll start full time. He gave me what I was going to be making. He said, we'll put you on this amount of salary, put you on a probationary period for 6 months. We'll jump you up to a rate right there on the spot. But just think about it, that my ungrateful self was basically saying it was unfair if the university. So what if the university said, I'm going to be fair to you and give you what you do deserve? Because I didn't deserve the fact that I was the one that asked to pledge KSI during that particular time. I was the one that didn't study and didn't have anything while I had to drop the 6 courses. I was the one that had to come in. So what if the university was actually fair to me and gave me what I actually wanted and give me a full ride, which I thought was fair? Because guess what? I wouldn't have been lined up with the blessing that God has blessed me with when he had a job waiting on me at the very end. Think about it, Center Point. Sometimes I don't think we want God to be really fair with us when his grace and his mercy are just everlasting all the time. So With that said and done, I'm going to turn it over to the pastor because that ends my message.